Have you made napping part of your daily practice, even at work? Well, if you look at the data, even at work, it supports the data that it supports, the benefits, the value. I want to urge you to consider this if you're not already making napping a part of your daily practice, and you can even call it meditation, if you will. All the research, and it's been so well documented for many, many decades, it's probably perhaps one of the best preventative measures you can take to support your health, your well-being. Why is that? Very simply, to be alive on the planet is to experience distress. And it has a funny way of building up. And I'm not talking about the big things, the big concerns. I'm talking about the small little annoyances, challenges, mishaps. We tend to look the other way. We tend to ignore them, and they build up and become stuck in the body. It physically becomes stuck in the body and causes us to have aches and pains, sleepless nights. So the benefit being is, one benefit of so many is that when you're doing this in the middle of the day, your work day, your day off, doesn't matter, what you're doing is releasing some of those stress enzymes, bringing your body back into balance. Think about it. Why is that important, and how will that help you to sleep better? There's a myth, and one of the myths is, boy, like with babies, for example. Can you remember? She hasn't napped today. It's going to sleep like a rock tonight. I can remember we've raised 3 children. They're now 40s, late 30s. And I can remember if they didn't nap, thinking that at first when I didn't know better, only to find that they're so wired they have trouble getting to sleep. It's not their best quality sleep. So the research shows is that during the day when we take the time for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10, ideally 13 minutes, we're releasing those stress hormones before they build up to a point of overwhelm. And that helps us have a better quality of sleep. You'll notice your dreams will be more productive, more valuable, less tense, less nightmares, if you will. And that's just one benefit. All the research and data shows, again, even at work, because, people have been shamed. What? You're napping at work? You should be working? You're not being productive? Well, obviously, if they look at the data, if any business owner, if any corporate, if they really care and they look at the data and they become a little more enlightened about it, they'll notice that all the research shows is that taking anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes nap during the day helps to boost productivity, helps to enhance clarity and focus, helps to enhance cognitive function, the highest thinking functions of the body. And as a result, you get more done in less time. You're more productive. You're also more likely to solve problems, to be more innovative. Because if the stressors build up, it changes our brain chemistry, it changes our body chemistry, and one of the first things to go is memory. Second, cognition, maybe reverse, but those two things are what goes. Cognition, the higher thinking functions of the brain, the ability to solve problems, to think of things and think clearly and focus clearly, and also memory. So what we used to think was a senior moment is really a stress moment. So yes, you'll sleep better, you'll boost your energy. My favorite is you'll feel better. If you're finding you're coming home from work or a busy day, whatever it is, and you're running out of steam, it'll help you to have more energy. And even maybe more importantly, if you're going to have a meal with a family member, a spouse, your children, visiting with friends, you'll be more present with them. Because if you know what it's like, if you're tired, if you're fatigued, you can't think clearly. And in fact, often when we don't feel good, when we feel tired and fatigued, we cancel plans. Or we don't take the time to go out with friends because I just want to veg out in front of the TV. It's not a bad thing. All I'm saying is it's good for your health, for your well-being, and productivity. The other thing, too, about napping during the day is that it awakens you're more likely to enhance your intuitive function. You're more likely to awaken your intuition, to be more creative. And that's so important, isn't it, today, for that? I could go on and on. The research supports this. And what I'm really referring to is meditation. All the research shows there's so many myths about meditation. Napping is meditation. The difference, however, is this. So let me offer you a couple of tips. If you've ever taken a nap during the day, only to get up from the nap and feel worse than before, think about it. Can you relate? Probably you napped more than 20 minutes. And if you did, you probably started a sleep cycle. Sleep and dream cycles are a full 90 minutes. And if we go more than, the research shows, if we go more than 15 minutes in that nap, or actually more than 20 to be more precise, you're more likely to get into slow wave sleep, deep slow wave sleep, which is very difficult to awaken from. And if you're awakening from that, it's disruptive and you feel off. You know, you're not quite back, or you feel worse than before. So the key is sit up. If you lie down, you're more likely to fall asleep. So the goal of a nap in the Silva Method, we teach this, we spend time. In fact, all during, it's a 4-day training. We go from 9 in the morning till 7. I call it the immersion experience of life and intuition system. And all during the day, we take what we call alpha breaks, dynamic meditations, which helps people to learn faster, to learn easier, to be clearer, to be more focused, to be more engaged, and to absorb more effectively the information. And the same is true for you during the day, in your day-to-day living for that. So tip number 1 is sit up, be comfortable. You're more likely to stay consciously awake. So the goal of any meditation is to quiet critical thinking, objective thinking, which is an art, be patient with yourself, and to stay consciously awake and aware. Not so much to think, but just to be alert consciously. So if there are noises around you, you'll hear them. You don't go deaf. It's okay. When you embrace it and just let it be, it just falls off into the background. If you have an itch, it's okay to scratch it. You don't, better not to be chewing gum or suck on a lozenge, or another tip. You want to be physically still, but if you really need to move, okay. I can remember I started this work 1971. I was the youngest instructor on the planet for the Silva Method, that is. And I can remember, if I remember correctly, even the first few months, whenever I sat to do my dynamic meditation, I felt wired. I felt like really anxious, especially in my stomach. I felt like I just wanted to open my eyes, and I was restless. Well, I hung in there. And it took, I didn't time it, but it was at least 30 seconds, if not a couple of minutes, before I finally settled down. Now, more than 50 years later, occasionally that happens because I've got something on my mind, or I want to get going. Or this weekend, we had a series of birthday celebrations and holidays with family and friends. So I was really eager to get going. We had a long drive. So it took me a little bit longer, maybe a minute or so longer than usual, to settle down. Be patient with yourself. It's just and it wasn't a bad thing, it's the eagerness. Another tip for you is to be physically comfortable. Maybe put some music on, quiet, easygoing music, and notice you're going to start daydreaming. Another myth is people think they're supposed to stop thinking. I've heard too often from people before they enroll in the Silva training with me, well, you know, Ken, I've tried meditation before and I just can't do it. I said, well, what do you mean? How do you know? Well, my mind is wandering all over. And do you know that neuroscience research shows that's a good thing? It's healthy to daydream during the day. It's a very important and valuable thing to do on a daily basis because it promotes creativity. It gives the brain a pause, a chance to rest. It helps to create balance in the brain. And you're more likely then for your best self to emerge in all that you do. With that, you get the idea? So it's okay to daydream. You're activating a daydream-like state. So it typically, for adults particularly, we're here in our normal waking state, active, engaged, critical thinking, what's called the objective mode of consciousness, using our physical senses to perceive and get information about the world we live in. But as we close our eyes and go to sleep, daydream, or take a nap, or doing your meditation, the brainwaves naturally slow down into the green and red alpha and theta, which is the key then to sustain it. Again, be patient, because it's a skill set that takes some time to develop. So the key is to be able to sustain it and maintaining conscious awareness. And I'll tell you, when you do that, it's restorative. You'll feel better. You'll be releasing the stress enzymes. It's something I'm very passionate about. It's part of my daily routine, no matter where I am, what's going on. If I'm watching the grandchildren who are, one just turned 6 and 4, another one's almost 4. But when they're staying here, I know they're going to get up especially early. So I'll go to bed a little bit earlier and I'll get up before them so I can be sure to do my morning meditation uninterrupted. It sets a tone for the whole day. You'll think more clearly. And the research shows, I'm not talking about the old classic idea of just napping, but it helps to create homeostasis, balance in the body, balance in your brain, so that it's like creating a suit of armor, so that as you move out into the day, you're more responsive rather than reactive. Have you ever been reactive? Have you ever lost your temper? Have you ever said something you wish you hadn't said? Hey, we've all done that. I'm no exception. I mean, I practice these things that I teach myself. And even doing what I do, practicing, sometimes, life gets the best of us. Forgive yourself. It happens. What I'm saying, though, is when you, every single day, in the morning, 5, 10, 15 minutes, middle of the day for a minute to 5 minutes even, let alone 15, you'll find that you'll be keeping yourself balanced. You'll be creating a state of being where you will, yes, think more clearly, you'll have better focus, you'll enhance your higher thinking skills, you'll awaken your intuition, but you'll also come from a place of response to life, watching what's going on and responding appropriately rather than in a survival state of fear. And that's the danger. If you're not regularly and consistently releasing the stress hormones that naturally build up in all of us regularly, we go into a survival state, the brain takes over, a defensive posture, and we're reactive rather than responsive. Get the idea? So yes, and if you're in a company or organization, maybe you have to go to where you can be alone. Maybe you need to go to the ladies' and men's room. Maybe you need to go sit in your car. Maybe because not all business owners or corporations might support this idea. But I've worked with Bose Corporation way back in the early 70s, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters about a decade ago. There's so many conscious businesses like that who have employed these skills and have actually hired Silva instructors to teach them these skills. Bose Corporation is another one. And the results are so insightful. And that's why you notice so many people now coming out of the woodwork, even many of the thought leaders who never talked about meditation, they're all encouraging us to daily meditate and then visualize your best self, etc. It works, my friends. So remember, you can do this. You've got this. It just takes a little bit of patience, practice, and consistent application. So please, if you find this helpful and insightful, share it with somebody who could benefit from this message. Somebody who perhaps is struggling and could sleep better at night or just needs a little bit of encouragement. If you're finding this helpful and you'd like more and you'd like to be alerted to new video training as I release them, do subscribe to the channel. I look forward to meeting you one day, and perhaps one day you'll grace me with your presence in the Silva Method training. Have a good one, and be better and better.